안녕하세요, 여러분. 저는 레이첼입니다. Today we are going to be learning how to pluralize nouns, like in English when we add the letter S to a noun, like chair versus chairs. And after that, we'll learn how to connect nouns using 하고. As with all of my videos, this is a continuation of the previous lessons, so if anything in this video is confusing to you, then you might want to go ahead and check out the playlist. However, any vocabulary that you will need in this lesson will also be in the description box below. And please remember that for every lesson, you do not have to go as fast as the pace of the video. If you are a complete beginner or you don't have a lot of practice with speaking, then you very likely will need more time, so feel free to pause anytime you need. And if you are a higher level, then you can also adjust the speed. If this gets way too boring, you can adjust the speed in the YouTube toolbar as well. So, 시작해볼까요? Today we are going to be learning how to pluralize using 들. Pluralization in English is when we change a word like dog into dogs or friend into friends. In Korean, this is accomplished by adding 들 to a word. The word dog in Korean is 개, so to make it dogs, it becomes 개들. Friend, 친구, friends, 친구들. One of the best parts about this particular grammar in Korean is that whether a word ends with a vowel or a consonant, for once it doesn't matter. Meaning that the word 개, which ends with a vowel, pluralizes into 개들. And 책, which ends with a consonant, pluralizes into 책들. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that in Korean, words are not pluralized quite as often as we do in English. We're going to practice a lot of pluralization today, but keep in mind that a lot of times when you see words in Korean, you would think, oh, but in English we would normally add an S to that. But in Korean they don't. This is just something to keep in mind, and I will let you know throughout this particular lesson when we need to pluralize and when we don't. But let's go ahead and get into some practice. Each of these words is from the previous lessons, but if you don't know the words, that's okay. I will give you the singular form of them. Starting with car. 차. Cars. 차들. 차들. Computer. 컴퓨터. Computers. 컴퓨터들. Desk. 책상. Desks. 책상들. Chair. 의자. Chairs. 의자들. Movie. 영화. Movies. 영화들. Cloud. 구름. Clouds. 구름들. Person. 사람. People. 사람들. Tree. 나무. Trees. 나무들. 끝났어요? Just kidding, there is plenty more to practice. If you want to go ahead and skip to where we learn and, I'll put the timestamp right here. But originally I made this video in combination with 의, which is what the last video was about. So I have a handful of leftover phrases and sentences that we can go ahead and practice right now. 의 was the possessive particle, and then we just learned how to pluralize using 들. So it's now combo time. Friends' books. 친구의 책들. 친구의 책들. My friends' books. 제 친구의 책들. Keep in mind that 제 is an abbreviation of 저의. 저의 becomes 제. My friend's cars. because your friend is incredibly rich and has multiple cars. 제 친구의 차들. My mom's friends. And for my mom, we're going to go ahead and say our mom. 우리 엄마의 친구들. 의 on 우리 tends to be dropped, so we just have 우리 엄마 for my mom. My teacher's cats. Our teacher's cats. 우리 선생님의 고양이들. My teacher's cats, as in there are multiple teachers, each with multiple cats. What do you think? 우리 선생님들의 고양이들. And now for just a couple of sentences. This is my attempt to combine the color schemes of 의 and 들. Let's go ahead and start with there are people at the beach. 해변에 사람들이 있어요. Or if you said 사람들이 해변에 있어요, that would be okay too. 있어요 comes from 있다, which means to exist, which is the opposite of 없다, which means to not exist. And it very often translates in English to there is, there are. And when we use 있다 and 없다, we tend to use it with the subject particle, which is 이 and 가. 이 if a noun ends with a consonant, and 가 if a noun ends with a vowel. If this grammar is unfamiliar to you, then go ahead and check out lesson... I forgot, but I'll put the number on the screen. Check out that lesson. Okay, my friends are teachers. 제 친구들은 선생님들이에요. 제 친구들은 선생님들이에요. Alright, finally, let's go ahead and get into some 새로운 단어, some new words. 새로운 단어. Starting with 감자. 감자 is potato. 감자. 양파. 양파 is onion. 양파. 당근. 당근 is carrot. 당근. 자전거. 자전거 is bicycle. 자전거. 택시. 택시 is taxi. 택시. And 버스. 버스 is bus. 버스. Feel free to pause here and write these down, but I will also have them in this chart up here so that we can do a bit of practice with pluralizing. Let's just start with the word potato. 감자. Now let's make it potatoes. 감자들. Bicycle. 자전거. Bicycles. 자전거들. Bus. 버스. Buses. 버스들. Carrot. 당근. Carrots. 당근들. Potatoes. 감자들. Carrots. 당근들. Onion. 양파. Onions. 양파들. Taxi. 택시. Taxis. 택시들. Bicycles. 자전거들. There are bicycles. 자전거들이 있어요. There are carrots. 당근들이 있어요. There are taxis. 택시들이 있어요. When we have this sentence here, 택시가 있어요, as I said earlier, Korean doesn't pluralize quite as often as we do in English. So this sentence, 택시가 있어요, could mean there is a taxi or there are taxis. So you could say that 택시가 있어요 is equal to 택시들이 있어요. Sometimes. Basically, adding 들 absolutely pluralizes a word, and without the 들, then maybe it's plural and maybe it's not. You can only really know through context. Again, don't worry about memorizing any particular rules here, just keep this in mind. And now we are going to move on to our next grammar, which is and. And because this color scheme is too similar to 들, wabam! Do these particular colors remind anyone else of popsicles? Now when it comes to the word and, specifically connecting nouns to each other, there are actually 3 particular grammar points that you can use here. First, we have noun plus wa or gua. Wa if a word ends with a vowel, and gua if the word ends with a consonant. Next, we have noun plus rang or irang. Rang if the word ends with a vowel, and irang if the word ends with a consonant. And last, we have noun plus 하고, which thankfully does not matter if the noun ends with a consonant or a vowel. And again, this looks so much like popsicles. And as I said, this is very specifically only used to connect nouns with other nouns. This is not used for verbs, like if you said, I went to the store and I studied. Or at the beginning of a sentence if you said, and I blah 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 blah. These are only used to connect noun with noun, like paper and pencil. Now, why are there 3 different types and when would you use each of them? To be honest, they're actually all fairly interchangeable, but there are a few subtle rules to keep in mind. The first one, noun plus wa or gua. Wa and gua tend to be the most formal, and you will always use wa and gua when it comes to writing something official, like on a test or an essay, or even speaking in a presentation. You can speak with wa and gua, but when it comes to writing, you will always use wa and gua. As for rang and irang, this is the most casual way to say and it's the most common way that you would use in speaking. And finally, 하고 is more formal than rang and irang, but it's not really that much more formal, and it's kind of what we call like the neutral or normal level one. And because it's just ever so slightly more formal than rang and irang, it's what we're going to be practicing today. So we've got the nouns that we had earlier, and we're going to practice them using and. So this is and 연습. 연습 being the word for practice. And with all of these particular colors on screen, this definitely looks more like a fruit salad than ever. Let's start with potatoes and carrots. But right now we are not going to pluralize them, we're just going to practice them singularly as potato and carrot, because as I said, it's not quite as common to pluralize in Korean as it is in English. So what do you think, potato and carrot? 감자하고 당근. Keep in mind that 하고 is attached to 감자 here, and then there is a space between 하고 and 당근. Taxi and bus. 택시하고 버스. Bus and bicycle. 버스하고 자전거. Potato and onion. 감자하고 양파. Potato and onion and carrot. 감자하고 양파하고 당근. Potato and carrot. 감자하고 당근. Now let's say we really need to specify that there are multiple potatoes and multiple carrots. What do you think it would be now? 감자들하고 당근들. Now, do you remember the word for eat? 먹다. 먹다 is the dictionary form, so you cannot say it like this in a sentence. So how would you conjugate this to say just present tense? I eat. 저는 먹어요. 저는 먹어요. If you don't know how to conjugate verbs, then go ahead and check out this lesson right here. Again, I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember what lesson number. Okay, I eat a carrot. Now this sentence, I eat a carrot or I eat carrots, both in Korean can go ahead and just be I eat carrot. So what do you think? 저는 당근. And what goes here? Here we need the object particle, which is 를 and 을. Because 당근 ends with a consonant, we will add 을. 저는 당근을 먹어요. Alright, let's make our sentence a little bit longer. I eat carrots and potatoes. And again, don't worry about pluralizing right now. Just I eat carrot and potato. 저는 당근하고 감자 plus the object particle를 먹어요. 저는 당근하고 감자를 먹어요. Now keep in mind that the object particle will only be attached to the last noun in the sentence. You don't need to add it to each noun after or before 하고, just attached to the final noun. Meaning that if you wanted to say a really long sentence, you only need to attach the object particle to the final noun right before the verb. As in, 저는 당근하고 양파하고 감자하고 고기하고 밥하고 김치하고 국수하고 감자를 먹어요. And apparently I really like 감자. Alright, the word ride. 타다. How do you say I ride? 저는 타요. I ride a taxi. 저는 택시를 타요. I take a taxi and a bus. 저는 택시하고 버스를 타요. Alright, in summary, with this fruit basket of colors here, first we learned how to pluralize by adding 들 to a noun. Dog in Korean is 개, and dogs is 개들, 개들. And the word and to connect nouns has three different options. We have noun plus 와 and 과, noun plus 랑 and 이랑, or noun plus 하고. 와 and 과 being the most polite, 랑 and 이랑 being the most casual, and 하고 being the most neutral or normal. But when it comes officially to writing or official texts or presentations, your best bet is to use 와 and 과. But that's not what we're practicing today. We are a channel for speaking practice. So today we will continue our practice with 하고 in our practice party. Here are the words that you will need for the practice party. Feel free to pause and take a screenshot or write any of these down. As always, the practice party will be a lot faster than the rest of the video, so feel free to pause anytime that you need. And we're going to keep this practice party fairly short today. Let's start out with 들. Go ahead and tell me, what is cats? 고양이들. Houses. 집들. Students. 학생들. books. 책들. teachers. 선생님들. onions. 양파들. bicycles. 자전거들. carrots. 당근들. There are onions. 양파들이 있어요. There are houses. 집들이 있어요. There are potatoes. 감자들이 있어요. And now let's go ahead and move on to 하고. Potato and onion. 감자하고 양파. Taxi and bus. 택시하고 버스. Teacher and student. 선생님하고 학생. House and school. 집하고 학교. Paper and pencil. 종이하고 연필. Carrot and onion. 당근하고 양파. Person and cat. 사람하고 고양이. People and cats. 사람들하고 고양이들. Potato and onion and carrot and rice and kimchi. 감자하고 양파하고 당근하고 팝하고 김치. There is a teacher and a student. 선생님하고 학생이 있어요. I eat onions and carrots. 양파하고 당근을 먹어요. I forgot to add 저는 in here, but that's okay. It's not really necessary for every single sentence. I take a taxi and a bus. 저는 택시하고 버스를 타요. I go to school and the beach. 저는 학교하고 해변에 가요. 에 in Korean loosely translates to the word to or towards in English. And that's all we have today. As I said, I didn't want to overcomplicate these 2 grammar points, so we'll go ahead and finish this lesson for today. Great job, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.